What is the ocean? Today we refer to 5 individual oceans: the Atlantic, Pacific, Indian, Arctic, and Antarctic. But in ancient and medieval times, the ocean was the whole mysterious and frightening mass of water surrounding the only known lands: Europe, Asia, and Africa. In fact, nothing separates the oceans from each other. There is no moment when one passes from the Atlantic to the Indian Ocean, or from the Indian Ocean the Pacific. The ocean is a great unity. As the Encyclopaedia Britannica said in 1911, it is the great connected sheet of water which covers the greater part of the surface of the earth. Ocean voyages were made as long ago as 1000 BCE, when Polynesians began migrating across the Pacific. From Europe, Viking sailors originating in Scandinavia crossed the North Atlantic to Iceland in the 9th century CE, and had reached North America by 1000 CE. In the Middle Ages, sea trade routes linked China to Egypt and Venice to London. Most seafarers kept close to coastlines whenever possible, however, and for the learned scholars of the Muslim Middle East and Christian Europe, the ocean remained the subject of fear or denial. According to the Arab geographer al-Masudi in 957 CE, the Pillars of Hercules at the exit from the Mediterranean Sea into the Atlantic had statues indicating that there was no way beyond me. The German chronicler Adam of Bremen wrote in 1076, "Beyond Norway, which is the farthermost northern country, you will find no human habitation, nothing but ocean, terrible to look at, and limitless, encircling the whole world." Around 1290, an Englishman, Richard of Holdingham, presented a map to Hereford Cathedral. In medieval fashion, it showed the world as consisting of 3 continents: Europe, Africa, and Asia. Even the Mediterranean was not accurately drawn, with a triangular Italy and the eastern end of the sea curving to the north. The band of ocean surrounding the great landmass was not much wider than the rivers and seas. The oceans were simply not considered important. This narrow view of the world was soon to change, however. Venetian Marco Polo's 1298 account of his travels in the East, including a sea journey from China to the Persian Gulf, broadened the scope of knowledge. By 1400, Europe had rediscovered the works of the ancient Greek geographer Ptolemy, written in the 2nd century CE. Ptolemy had plotted the Indian Ocean, though he showed most of India as an island and enclosed the ocean with land. In the 15th century, sailors began to explore the world more systematically. Between 1405 and 1433, the Chinese admiral, Zheng He, led a series of voyages into the Indian Ocean, traveling as far as the east coast of Africa. Portuguese caravels, meanwhile, began probing tentatively down Africa's west coast and into the unknown mass of the Atlantic, reaching the Azores in 1427. The expanding view of the world is summarized in a great map made by the monk Fra Mauro in Venice around 1450. Fra Mauro writes that he does not believe the Sea of India is enclosed like a pond, as a junk, perhaps part of Zheng He's expedition, had crossed the Indian Ocean in 1420 and sailed for 40 days in a southwesterly direction without ever finding anything except wind and water. Fra Mauro's map also recognized the Atlantic as an ocean,